Well, guys, I figured that with some people remember the nostalgic cartoons today, like Sid Massacre, James Wolfe. Remembering Saturday morning cartoons, I would go into one of my favorite um, childhood cartoons, and that was Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, back then, you had two cartoons based on the Blue Hedgehog. You had The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which was more of a cartoony, um, uh, childish kind of cartoon. And then you had Sonic SaTam, or Sonic Saturday Morning. So, what was the difference between these two series? Well, one, again, like I said, was more cartoony. It wasn't as edgy. It wasn't as scary. It was perfect. I remember watching it one morning and I was like, what in the world is this? Nostalgia Critic actually talked about these cartoons in depth when he did the Sonic Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I remember it being my first ever time hearing Urkel talking in a cool, more sophisticated voice. He was saying he's in the speed keys and way past cool. And you wouldn't expect that from the guy who plays a nerd in a family sitcom. And this was Jaleel White, who didn't reprise his role in later cartoons, but he did reprise his role as Urkel, and I'll talk about that eventually down the road. But in Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. So, the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was just Sonic and Tails trying to get away from Dr. Eggman. There was no other characters. There was Scratch and Grounder and a monkey. I don't remember his name, but it was fantastic. The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was, again, like the more kid-friendly cartoon. Although, it did have some dark moments. I remember one time watching it, and they went to the storybooks, and it had the whole Snow White. It was just the whole bunch of cartoons back then. The bunch of storybooks they were making fun of at the time. And if you were me, I loved it. If you were like me, you probably loved it as much as you did Mario Brothers, Spider-Man. But then came Saturday mornings on ABC. ABC had a more grittier, more I guess you could say a more teenager version of The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. It was dark. Dr. Eggman, or Dr. Robotnik, as he was called back then, had taken over all Metropolis, and they were trying to stop him. They had Sally Acorn, Bunny, I think is her name, Alphonse, who is the scaredy cat of the whole roster, Sonic and Tails. It was more grittier. It was more a teenage version of Sonic the Hedgehog, but I loved it. I loved Sonic SaTam. Sonic Saturday Morning is what it was called, but at the time, I just thought it was like, a different version. He also Eggman, Dr. Robotnik also had a sidekick. I don't remember his name, but he was basically the secondary bad guy. Because, which we'll get here in a minute, he was basically Dr. Eggman's, or Dr. Robotnik's sidekick. And he, I think they were trying to do that with Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, because he does have a guy that basically does everything for him. But he was more incompetent than anything else until you get to this series finale. Some people say that they like this better than Sonic Underground and Sonic X, and I will not disagree with that. Although Sonic X brought us back to what we loved about Sonic the Hedgehog. It was one Sonic, not three. And then, so the series ends on a cliffhanger. Dr. Robotnik's beaten Snively. That's his name. Snively. And Snively, Dr. Robotnik is beaten, and Snively is seen in the background, and he's like, I'm going to get you, Sonic the Hedgehog. And then you see this monster with red eyes in the background. And that made me think, oh my goodness, this is going to be a season 3. Unfortunately, we never got a season 3. We got 2 seasons, and that was it. The episodes that really stood out to me were, first of all, we'll talk about the ones for Sonic, the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, was the one where Sonic is worried about Tails' well-being. So he basically goes out and tries to find Tails' real mom and dad. And when he does, he reminisces about when he does, and they take him, which by the way is Scratch the Grounder, in disguise, spoiler, and he remembers when they first met, and his name was Miles at the time. It's not Tails, and Miles and Tails, and he remembers, wait a minute, if those were his real parents, they would call him Miles, not Tails. Another one that I remember is the one where Sonic gets turned to stone, and Tails basically tries to go out and figure out how to cure him. Then there was the episode where Tails gets this piece of little water gum, I guess it was, on his shoe, and it makes him as fast as Sonic. Now, Robotnik had made that stuff to basically make him as fast as Sonic. Then we're going to go. Now we're going to go into Sonic SaTam. Now, SaTam was, like I said, grittier, but there was a few episodes I really do remember. One of them being the time travel episode, where Sonic and Buddy both go back in time. Sonic and Sally Acorn go back in time to stop what happened when they were captured the first time. And when they do, it just completely messes up the whole timeline. That episode was great. It was a 2-parter. Normally you did not see that in a Sonic cartoon. But this was great. Another episode I remember was the finale, the series finale. Again, I was like, okay, They're going to make a new season, and they didn't. So, do I like the new Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons? I did like Sonic X, and I don't like Sonic Underground. I'm sorry. I don't know why they had to make 3 characters. They could have just went with Sonic, and that was it. No brother, no sister. The series story had a slight thing good about it, but this goes with the whole Teen Titans Go thing. They made it less gritty, less about the main character, and made it more about him and his sister, brother, going out to find them off. There's no Tails, there's no Knuckles, nothing. Sonic X, I watched a little bit of it, and Sonic X, I can't disagree that cartoon was better than Sonic Underground. Is it as good as Sonic the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog or Sonic SaTam? It's close, but not close enough. And then we gotta talk about Sonic Boom, the recent, not too recent cartoon, which was on Cartoon Network. This was at the time I was thinking, oh gosh, they're gonna ruin Sonic for all of us. And I watched it, and I'm gonna tell you, compared to Sonic Underground, it's close. It's pretty dang close. It's more comedy, but it's funny. It's great. It's on Hulu. If you haven't got Hulu, I would definitely watch the whole 2 seasons. It's good. This was probably one of the best Cartoon Network cartoons of all time. They have Sonic, Amy, Tails, Knuckles. Even has Metal Sonic in there. And then they have Cubot and Orbot. Which are my 2 favorite characters besides Scratch and Grounder. And Sonic Boom was where it brought me back to my childhood. It took everything I loved about Sonic, and I was like, here, that's it. There was a crossover cartoon, OK KO, Let's Be Heroes, where Sonic does appear in an episode. And I would suggest you guys watch that one too. It's a decent episode. If you don't like watching OK KO, Let's Be Heroes, but you want to see a good Sonic crossover, or a crossover period, this one would be definitely worth it. So, can you watch Sonic the Hedgehog? The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog? You can't watch the original, but if you can find a DVD set, which I have a DVD set of the entire 2 seasons of Sonic SaTam, it's definitely worth it. It's maybe probably $20. It's worth it. You know, I don't think you could ever really watch the cartoons nowadays, because I guess it's a little too goofy or too dark and gritty. But if you can, pick it up and watch it. If you like Sonic Boom, Sonic The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic SaTam is definitely worth it, especially for the comedy. But if you want to watch a current cartoon, Sonic Boom on Hulu. Look it up. You will not be disappointed. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Like, comment, subscribe, share. I'll see you guys on the next video.